Welcome to the Combative Nerds Podcast. Join us.
What? They told me they fixed it. I trusted them to fix it. It's not my fault. Oh, guys, I don't think we're going to have the juice for a full episode, so instead we're going to bring you a rapid fire. Oh, the FighterWizard. My bad. Sorry about the hyperdrive.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Raiderlance and
FighterWizard.
So I have convinced FighterWizard to do a rapid fire because I wanted to talk for about 10 minutes straight and share a story with him that he was surrounded by but may have not witnessed. So I have to give you a little backstory. You ready for it?
Hit me.
Okay, I'm sure you've heard of World of Warcraft, correct?
Of course.
Are you an MMO player?
I do not like MMOs, but I have tried them.
Okay, most of them are pretty horrific and end up being an addiction, as it was with me. I played World of Warcraft for about 2.5 years. And I had some fun. I made some friends. Kind of wish I never did it. Had some good memories, but I should not have played as much as I did. And one of the main reasons why this was such a frustrating game for me was because I chose to be a holy priest. A holy priest in a PvP, which is a player versus player world server, is the worst thing you can do because anytime you run around, if you run into a bad guy, it's easy pickings. It doesn't matter. You're so weak, you have no attack skills. You're a support player that just heals and keeps your own members in your team alive during raids. But for player versus player, you got nothing. You can't out heal how fast they can hurt you, if that makes sense. You're not even a glass cannon. You got nothing, right? You need bodyguards. You're like the king on a chessboard, right? If you're running around solo, anybody's going to be able to take you out. So it was a miserable experience. And one of the reasons why is, it was great. You were always getting courted to be on these alliances, or I forget what they're called. I think they're called alliances. Everybody wanted you. Priests were in high demand because, they all needed a healer to do these big raids, and you could always punch up. Then, in other words, get into a better alliance than you deserved if you were a holy priest. The problem was if you weren't raiding and you had to do side missions in the world, or you had to go farm for certain crafting materials that you needed for your priest stuff or an item that you wanted, you had to go out in the real world without protection and get your ass kicked for hours and hours and hours, especially if the bad guys were farming. And nobody out in the world when you're farming comes to help a priest. Only your alliance when you're raiding. So I had multiple instances where for 2 or 3 hours, I would just get killed, have to resurrect, run back, get killed, resurrect, run back. And I'm talking like hours just to farm a couple items that these other people were camping. So I know there's more. I'm just trying to set it up. So I complained over and over to the DMs. I forget what they're called. No, GMs, general managers, right? There's the people who worked at Blizzard. They would always tell me, you're a PvP server. Shut up. Deal with it. We don't know what to tell you. So I learned to hate the company Blizzard because they're apathetic to people in my vulnerable position. They were my drug dealers because I was addicted. And so I had this massive hate for them. Well, Blizzard just happens to be in Southern California, their headquarters. And so sometimes when I would drive by work, flip them off, have delusions of, vandalizing their campus. But I never could do anything. I could never exact my revenge on it. Then I find out at our gym at Krav Maga, there was a female student who worked for Blizzard. And she was she from the Netherlands? I think. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I know exactly who you're talking about. She was Dutch.
Dutch. Thank you. Okay.
She still is Dutch, I believe.
She was a sweet girl, right? Like she trained, she took it seriously. She was nice. I did not like her training partner. We won't get into that. That's a whole different story.
I know exactly who her training partner was. He was an incredibly smelly individual.
Yes. So
yes,
I had to give her a pass. One, because she was a girl, and one, she was a pleasure to train with and have in class.
So excellent artist too.
Oh, was she?
She did game. Yeah, she was an artist for the games.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. So I don't have as much issue with the artist, with people who work for that game. I just felt like I shouldn't beat her up. But one day, our class is packed. And I'm like, what's going on here? And they're all talking to the Dutch girl. And so I go and I talk to her and I ask what's going on. She's like, oh, I brought all my friends on a 1 month trial pass or whatever pass so that they could come try out Krav and train. And I went, oh, your friend? And she was like, no, these are all my coworkers. So I was in a Krav Maga class with about 20 people who worked for Blizzard. FighterWizard is now smiling, shaking his head, and only imagining what I did.
I also muted my sigh.
Well, what do you think I did, FighterWizard?
I didn't know what you did.
For the next month, I kept on getting comments and feedback of, God, why is this guy so angry? Why did he miss the pad and hit me? I would, when we were training leg kicks, I would go 100% and try to kick through that pad. And I beat the shit out of these guys. None of them came back. It was the most perfect revenge, right? Because I wasn't technically assaulting them. That would be wrong. You don't assault people. I couldn't spar them. That would be bullying. They weren't trained fighters. But if these sons of bitches held a pad up to their chest to take a knee, or their gut to take a knee, I was well within my right to go 100%. He still has the look of disapproval covering his mouth.
I'm searching for the proper analogy. No, a real world analogy. And the best I have is that your drug dealer provided you the drug that you wanted for the fixed price, on demand, and occasionally you did not like being the kind of drug addict that you were. And when you complained that you were a drug addict to your drug dealer said, well, yeah, and agreed with you, but wouldn't do anything about it. So you fantasized about slashing your drug dealer's tires, but you wouldn't do that. So instead, when your drug dealer's non-drug dealing friends hung out with him,
no, they're accessories,
and were nice to you, you shit in all of their mouths for a month and still had the audacity to buy drugs from your drug dealer at the same time. That's not a perfect analogy, and I don't have a good one. But, I mean, well done in terms of pettiness. You physically assaulted people that had nothing to do with your addiction.
No,
because you chose to play the heel bot class.
No, they were getting paid by those fuckers, and they deserved what they got. I could not tell you how liberating it was, how I started to enjoy the game again after I would lump and contuse these people.
I have no doubt that it was emotionally fulfilling. I can't deny that I would probably feel the same sort of fulfillment. Where I'm having trouble is that I'm guessing it's because she worked in the art department. All of her friends were just artists for Blizzard. So you just destroyed a bunch of fine arts majors.
Not in my imagination.
No, I know in your imagination. They're the direct GMs, and they're the ones who are instant messaging you while you're saying, well, come on, don't beat me up. Like, suck it up, noob. I get that.
You're making me angry just thinking about it now. I should have gone harder. Leg locked a couple of them.
You went hard. You went hard enough because you physically drove the business away from the gym.
By the way, I don't think you were running the gym at that time. So it shouldn't be that personal. It shouldn't be that personal.
I was not.
But I did. I never told this story to our main trainer because he would have not been happy with me.
So the primary trainer at that school right now is one of the nicest people I've ever met. Not even nice, because nice is what people do when they want other people to feel good, or they want other people to feel like they're a good person. Kind, to me, is they're a genuine person that enjoys making another person feel good about themselves or have a better experience.
Yeah.
This trainer is a kind man. I don't know if he would have had the psychological and emotional infrastructure to understand what you were doing to these people.
It's called justice. I would have just explained to him that this was justice or karma. Hey, man, I'm karma. Why can't we just chalk it up to that?
In a way, you have done what every incel wants to do, which is
Just call me the Joker.
physically addressing a perceived virtual problem. That guy called me a racial slur driving to their house. Wait, no, not driving to their house. Inviting them out to meet you as a gathering of friends and then fucking them up.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I felt so great. I'm proud of it.
And the only reason I'm saying all this shit is because I'm jealous. If you pick the right company that I've had a grievance with, I'm sure that I would enjoy doing the same thing.
I wanted to verbally lambast them and explain the frustration and pain and agony they caused me. But I didn't, because it was just so much sweeter them not knowing why they got their asses handed to them. If I would have told,
if it makes you feel better, oh no, please.
If I would have told them, they would have had something to hang their hat on. They just had to walk away, being like, "Oh, I guess I'm not tough enough for Croft."
Or they just thought you were an asshole.
Well,
maybe both.
It was probably both. They're half correct.
In a way, karma also was Blizzard itself, because those dudes would work easily 70-hour weeks every push time when it came to get a game iteration out. And I think 2-3 years after that, Blizzard was under a massive scandal and lawsuit for working conditions. Conditions and rampant sexism. Yeah. Just rampant sexism, which you kind of would expect from a big bro club of nerds.
Were they wrapped up in the whole Gamergate situation, or was that completely separate and apart?
I don't remember. I want to believe that Gamergate sort of shined a light.
Okay.
And allowed the Blizzard expose to happen, but I'm not really sure. Similar to how the Bill Cosby scandal shined a light on produced the Me Too movement.
Sure. Okay.
Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe it's not, but I'm clearly talking out my ass right now.
So do you think my actions somehow dropped a pebble into the pond that turned into the ripple that led to their expose on Blizzard? I mean, it's possible.
Obviously. I mean, that goes without saying.
So I did an even better deed than I thought I did. I'm a hero. Let's just call it for what it is.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Damn straight. Some of them are bald and short.
Sometimes they wear training pants.
And cups.
And cups. And cups.
Well, that was my story. I don't know how people didn't see it. Because when you're training at a gym, all jokes aside, I 100% did everything I just said. I did go 100% on people holding training pads. And when I say training pads, let me explain. What are those certain pads called? The
tie pads, focus mitts?
Well, no, they weren't wearing focus mitts or tie pads. That's the traditional MMA. But with Krav Maga, you have, they're like half.
They're just big pads. I always just call them pads.
Okay. So they're just big pads. So you can prepare for kicks and knees and hammer fists. And so they're not, your normal pads that you would put on your hand for boxing or tie pads for kicks and elbows and knees and all that. We had those too, but these were beginner classes. So we just had like the big shield pads, and I would just fucking light these people up. Where was I going with this? So I did 100% do everything I said I did. What surprised me is that normally you're not supposed to go that hard on new students because you don't want to scare them away. You don't want to injure them. You can actually injure yourself going too hard on a new person because they don't know how to hold the pads properly. And I've done that before. My elbow still clicks to this day because of it. But what surprised me was that no one ever said anything to me. It's not like I took these people into a part of the gym that no one could see, or, took them into a corner and lit them up. Like, I was doing this in front of everybody, and everyone was just like, no comment.
Do you want to be the guy that has to go to a martial arts instructor of any stripe and say, hey man, that guy went too hard for me? It's the trainer's responsibility to address it, or it's the student's responsibility to address it, usually with the other person. Now, granted, they can punch up and talk to the trainer.
Sure.
But in that culture, No one's going to do that.
So
No one.
So I basically applied prison rules. Stitches get snitches get stitches, and just bullied my way through all these people.
There's a way to address conflict in gym culture, and complaining to the instructor works in a kid's class.
Now, in all fairness, everything I did was going too hard, but was kosher. I wasn't, doing anything dirty, or I wasn't literally like missing the pads to hit them on purpose. But I was throwing knees at 100%. Definitely leg kicks at 100%. Punches to the chest or face. I'd tone it down a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
So that type of stuff, you just kind of eat. They're just body shots. You know what I mean? And, it's not like I'm choking these guys out, but it was very gratifying. I do not regret anything. This might be
I never once imagined that you did.
This might be the first time I've ever had FighterWizard look at me with disappointment. And of all the things I've done to him, this is the line.
But not unexpected disappointment.
I don't know what that means.
I knew starting out by your preface that this would be petty. You did not disappoint. Everything you did is just so completely you. I have nothing to say. It totally fits.
You're like, I'm surprised.
It totally fits.
I'm surprised you only have one of these stories.
I don't think that's true. I just think this is the one you remember.
This is going long, but I would have given, you know what, next time I will share the story of Sucker Punch. You know who I'm referring to?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I put you in a kind of a bad spot. So I apologize, and I apologize that I'm not sorry about it. But no, I do. Yeah, that was the only unfortunate part. What was that?
If it's the one I'm thinking of, he deserved it.
Yeah, that's why he got the nickname Sucker Punch, because he literally sucker punched me in the middle of a session. But yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah. So no, I do have more of these stories, but that is the only one that I'm proud of, because I became a legend. Everybody I've talked to,
of course,
everybody I've talked to who've ever played World of Warcraft said, you did the right thing, sir.
Yeah, because them some homies you want to roll deep with.
All right, I don't think I'm going to get any more reactions out of FighterWizard on this one, because he just keeps on biting his lip and trying to stay quiet. All right, we will get back to you guys with another long episode. Take care. That's it. That's our show. This week we're going to be a little light on content, but we're having some team meetings. We're developing more content and more subjects we can discuss. Please do us a favor and like, subscribe, share this podcast so we can get some traction. Once I get around to it, check us out on our socials. The Bad of Nerds on Patreon, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You know the deal. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next episode.